The pepper spraying or perhaps macing of 4 women protesters at Occupy Wall Street took a new turn today when more video came to light, and on it quite clearly a New York City policeman indicates that he too is a victim of that spraying, saying of the policeman, who was identified by the protesters as Officer Anthony Bologna, "He just bleeping maced us." Our fourth story on the countdown, the peaceful protesters, and almost totally peaceful police were amplified in the last 24 hours by the presence of big-name activists like Michael Moore and Susan Sarandon. But it was Saturday's unprovoked attack on 4 women, penned in behind plastic netting, given no warning, unable to protect themselves against whichever caustic chemical was used against them, that again dominates the headlines with the new video coming to light.
Protecting your people! Who are you protecting?
Again, there have been other instances of protesters sprayed. One of them, Kelly Harris, he told us here last night. It happened to him when he tried to take a picture of an officer, seemingly abusing a protester physically. The protests are in their 11th day, and they have, as I mentioned, now begun to attract public figures.
I want to see a perp walk. I want to see a perp walk. I want to see the people responsible for destroying the lives of millions of people. I want to see the people responsible for destroying the lives of millions of people. In handcuffs. And run away. And run to justice. Immediately. Tax them. How much? Not enough. How much? Still not enough. How much? Still not enough.
Meantime, the actress and activist Susan Sarandon arrived this morning, not as demonstrative, but just as sincere.
There's a huge void between the rich and the poor in this country, and there's the attack on unions.
And last but not least, for the last 2 days, Sam Cedar, the host of the Majority Report, has broadcast his radio program from the scene of the protests and joins us here at Control. Sam, good evening.
Good evening, Keith.
Does that new video, as we harken back to the thing that happened over the weekend, is that kind of a better picture of what happened on Saturday to those women and, as it turns out, to the cop who was standing nearby?
Well, I mean, I think clearly what it shows is that supervising cop was pretty out of control. I mean, no one was expecting it,
right.
Not even the cops that were holding the kettling net, as they call it. And so, you know, I think it's interesting. There's a real sense, I think, that on Saturday, because of the attention, and I don't know if that's for better or for worse, I guess, because of that attention, it has really grown. I mean, I was down there on Friday, and there were far more people there today, and tonight even, I think there's close to 600-700 people who were there during what they call the General Assembly.
So they had dropped off from perhaps a high of 1,000 or more last week down into the medium hundreds or the low hundreds, and now you're suggesting that it's a larger crowd.
I think after Saturday, you know, obviously on the weekends the marches are going to bring out more people, but I think it is clear that during the week, I mean, if we're only on Tuesday now, but the numbers are growing, and I don't know if there are more people necessarily sleeping over, but there are certainly more people going down to the park.
What has the police protester dynamic been like the last couple of days after that incident? Because everything we've heard so far has been there was that, there were a couple of other incidents. The rest of it, the cops have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it seems that the only incidences occur when some of the people leave Zuccotti Park, or as they're calling it, Liberty Plaza, and go out and protest, either march up certain areas. Today, for instance, some of the people from Zuccotti Park actually went up and met up with the postal workers who were protesting the possible cutbacks of the post office. So, but for the most part, as far as I can tell, down in the park, it has been you know, relatively calm. I actually saw some officers who were just going around taking pictures and wanted to see Susan Sarandon. We're talking to the protesters, and you know, because the protesters, I really think, feel a kinship with the police down there. It's their pensions who are getting cut as well.
All right, so you mentioned Sarandon. Moore was there too. If they're showing up, is the media finally showing up?
You know, I think in stutters, in spurts.
Yeah.
You know, what the folks down there told me is that the trucks show up for a couple minutes. they get their B-roll, and then they leave. But you know, Cornel West is down there tonight. I think the more celebrity, I mean, NPR apparently, in telling their ombudsman, they said the 3 reasons why they weren't covering it was because there was no major disruptions, so short of the violence.
Great. Crack Some Skulls will be down in an hour. If it bleeds, it leads on NPR.
Literally. And they didn't think there was any specific demands, and there was no one of import down there. And, well, you know, so now you're starting to get some celebrity that is showing up there. And, you know, the protesters are getting into small committees, and they're setting up, and they're creating a list of demands. But frankly, I think the demands thing is a little bit overblown.
Yeah, explain that, because I was talking to Kelly Heresy here last night. One of the criticisms, and it's understandable from people who are used to sort of a set block mentality of what protests are like. It's like, what is this about? And the answer is, we're trying to decide what it's about. We know we're angry, and we're getting together to be angry and figure out how to direct that anger. Is that basically it?
Yeah, I mean, it's very much about the process. But you know, at the end of the day, it's not Occupy Central Park.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's Occupy Wall Street. They know that there is a problem in this country that I think a lot of people are talking about, that there is an incredible wealth inequality in this country, that Wall Street seems to have been completely unaccountable for trashing our economy, and they are getting together, and they're doing it on their own time. And, you know, a couple of protesters said to me today, if the media doesn't know what we want, tell them to come down here and ask us.
And obviously we need those Npr celebrities to show up and have do the live broadcast. Right. Terry from Terry Gross from
Prairie Home
exactly. Get Garrison Keillor down there, and then they came in from the left.
Exactly.
And Lake Wobegon is a tough. Lake Mace is a difficult place to
Maybe
be.
Get Click and Clack down there, and we'll see some real reporting from
this
NPR.
car will not operate because we've taken the engine out of it. Sam Cedar, the Majority Report. Good to see you, Sam. Thanks for filling in last week. Appreciate it.
Thank you.